Hey, Couchers, cold open here. The news dropped about 48 hours ago that the Tony Awards, as of right now, are not going to be aired due to the ongoing writer's strike and writers in this Writers Association Guild not being paid a fair wage, which is not okay. At Two Kids on a Couch, we have built this platform on watching the Tony Awards and celebrating with friends and loved ones. So it is a bummer. All this to say, we stand very much with the writers. We very much are hoping that they get paid what they deserve and what they are owed, what they have been owed for many, many years. It sucks, and we just want to say that it sucks because of the people who are refusing to pay a living wage and not because of the people who are fighting for that living wage. So yeah, hopefully it airs, and this gets resolved. In the meantime, stay couchy.
Hi. And I'm.
And we're Two Kids on a Couch.
Hey gang, today's category is Best Revival of a Play for the 2023 Tony season. Let's get started. Pants, what are you doing, my guy? The first show that we're going to talk about today is Top Dog Underdog, the Pulitzer Prize-winning play by Suzanne Lori Parks. Top Dog Underdog is a two-man show. It tells the story of two brothers growing up in the city. The time is now, the place is here. It's about two brothers who are trying to make it, or trying to find their way into prosperity, and whatever that means for the both of them. One is trying to kind of hustle, cheat the system, and one has kind of left that path and is trying to work an honest job as an Abe Lincoln impersonator. Top Dog Underdog got 3 nominations this year for Best Revival of a Play, and for both of its leading actors, Corey Hawkins and Yahya Abdul-Mateen II. In terms of what this show will win, I don't think it's going to win Best Revival of a Play, only because I think it's going to go to Doll's House, which took more risk. It's a Herzog, it's an Ibsen, what are you going to do? And so I truly, what is it? This is about dogs. That being said, I really, really want one of these two actors to win. They both gave incredible performances. The writing is the reason to see the show, and the writing is only good when you have two actors who are like really capable of like maintaining the patter and the energy and the flow, and both of these actors are brilliant. I love you. I'm nervous because they are both nominated, so there's always a chance of the vote getting split between them, especially because like they both did such great work, and it's a two-man show, right? So the burden of telling the story is like so evenly on both of them. That being said, like in the category, to my uneducated eye, they feel like the clear winners. If I had to pick, I'd say Corey Hawkins, just because I think his arc is a little bit stronger. That being said, Yahya Abdul-Mateen was phenomenal, did some great work. Both actors are great. I want one of them to win. I don't really care who it is. Top Dog Underdog! The next nominee for Best Revival of a Play is The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window. This revival, starring Rachel Brosnahan and Oscar Isaac, had a sold-out run in Brooklyn earlier this year, and they decided pretty last minute to take it to Broadway. This show opened a single day before the cutoff date for nominations. I do think that showed in the finished work of the show, as Sidney Brustein's Window only got 2 nominations this year for Best Revival of a Play and Best Performance by a Featured Actress for Miriam Silverman. Visibly nothing for Oscar Isaac or Rachel Brosnahan. Okay, now that he's gone. The Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window is about Sidney Brustein and his wife living in an apartment in Chicago in times of political upheaval, and kind of the general exhaustion that comes with always being on and fighting the man. You move to a city with ideals, and then you have to constantly fight for those ideals, and you kind of get tired, and it wears on your relationships and on your work and on your creativity and all this kind of stuff. Sound familiar, anyone? I'm glad that since they had to bend over backwards to get it eligible this Tony season, I'm glad that it at least got something. I feel bad that it didn't get more, but maybe can't rush perfection, I guess is the thing my grandfather would say about that. So yeah, that's Sign in Sidney Brustein's Window. I don't think it's gonna win either of its nominations, but I'm glad that it got them.
A Doll's House, originally by Henrik Ibsen, this adaptation by Amy Herzog, tells the story of Nora, a housewife in 1879 Norway who finds herself squeezed between an infantilizing husband and a brooding banker she owes a favor to, until she feels she has no choice but to escape. The show is a classic, having had a profound impact on the future of theater in the way that it turned away from stories of gods and kings and instead chose to tell stories about normal people. This production specifically strips it down even farther to focus on only the people and nothing else. And in so, earned itself 6 Tony nominations, including Best Revival of a Play, Best Performance by an Actress in a Leading Role in a Play for Jessica Chastain, Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Play for Arian Moried, Best Sound Design of a Play for Ben and Max Ringham, Best Lighting Design of a Play for John Clark, and Best Direction of a Play for Jamie Lloyd. We really have to start with the director on this one. Jamie Lloyd has such a specific vision for the show that it really informs the way we think about the whole thing. For those of you who may be familiar, this is the same man who directed Cyrano de Bergerac with James McAvoy, in which he stripped that show of all costumes, all sets, all prosthetic noses and swords, and instead just made it a couple of people dressed in black, sitting in chairs, holding microphones, telling a story. He took the same approach here. There are no costumes, everyone's in black. There's not really a set, we have a couple of chairs and a turntable. And no props to speak of. Even when they talk about eating candies or putting a ring on the table, we don't show this. We don't pantomime this. We just say we've done it and thus we've done it. It's a really interesting approach, specifically the fact that A Doll's House is known for being naturalist theater. It's being normal. When I studied this show in school, that was my problem with it. I didn't want to see something so normal, so plain life. I thought it took all the theatricality out of it. Jamie Lloyd's production has added that theatricality back in a way that makes it very exciting for someone like me. I think his direction is excellent. I don't know that he'll win. There are a couple of other shows, Life of Pi comes to mind, that did some really interesting and cool things that might beat him out, but I'm thankful for Jamie Lloyd for making the only version of Dollhouse I'm interested in seeing, and if he did win, I would be thrilled. Outside of Jamie's direction, the other reason people are talking about this show is Jessica Chastain's performance. Nora is one of those classic theater roles that so many brilliant actresses over the ages have sunk their teeth into, and Jessica Chastain definitely ranks up there with the best of them. She gives a magnetic performance getting to the heart of the character that is mesmerizing to watch. That being said, she's in a hard category this year. All 4 of the ladies nominated are the reason to see their shows. Audra McDonald, Jessica Hecht, Jodie Comer, and Jessica Chastain are all in star vehicles that are just there to showcase them. And so I can't say that she's necessarily like the favorite to win. I think she did a great job. I don't think it would necessarily surprise people if she won, but she might not be my pick for the Tony this year. As for its other nominations, I think it has even less of a shot. Arian Moried gave an excellent performance as Torvald, but I don't know, the character doesn't have a lot to do in the original show. I've been told he has even less to do here. A little bit surprised he's just a featured actor here, so I don't expect he's gonna win this one. The lighting and sound design is neat and good, and it's cool to be nominated for such a minimalist show, but when you're going up against things like Life of Pi, I don't think you really have a chance. That being said, it might be my pick for Revival of a Play. It's hard to know. I don't like old plays so much, so I'm not good at like sussing out how much people like the classics. There's a couple of other good shows this year. I'll say sure, maybe I think A Dollhouse should win. I think this is probably one of the more inventive takes we've seen on Broadway this year in the play revival category, and I'd like to see that rewarded. But I don't know. I'm bad at this category, so expect to be wrong.
Our final nominee for Best Revival of a Play this Tony season is August Wilson's The Piano Lesson. This play tells... Hey, bud. This play tells the story of a brother and sister who are fighting over a family heirloom. The sister wants to keep it as it's a part of her family's heritage and history. The brother wants to sell it as he's a little short on cash right now, and frankly, none of them know how to play. This show is not my favorite of August Wilson's. I think the title and the premise are a little more exciting than the play itself turns out to be. There's talk of ghosts and hauntings, but none of that really comes to fruition. The show got 2 nominations for Best Revival of a Play and for Samuel L. Jackson for Best Performance by an Actor in a Featured Role in a Play. I kind of feel like Samuel L. Jackson got nominated because he's Samuel L. Jackson, which is not the worst reason to nominate someone, but it is the worst reason for someone to win. He did good work, not jaw-dropping, especially compared with a lot of the other performers in his category who I would much rather see take home a Tony. Not my pick, not my fave. So yeah, Piano Lesson, it was on Broadway, it had a great cast. I'm shocked more of them weren't nominated because of like of the top billers, Samuel L. Jackson gave the least impressive performance, so that's weird. More to come on our Snubs episode. But yeah, I think it's not my favorite to win, but it happened. That's it for this episode. Stay tuned for next week when we talk about other shows. And that is it for this year's nominees of Best Revival of a Play. Tune in next time to hear us talk about the best original musicals out this year. Stay couchy.